Do you have any advice, for someone who's, going after a dream or thinks their dream's too big or just don't know how to start and, maybe they need some encouragement?
Yeah, I mean, whatever your dream is, of course you want to plan things out, but it's never going to go like you thought it was going to go.
You called yourself a human thumb with glasses.
I don't know, what is it about being bald that's accepted? You can body shame us.
And it is so obvious. I'm sitting here feeling like my heart's palpitating a little bit. I'm like, he's all face.
You gotta get a guy who's all face and you're like, Blue Man Group. Yeah, I said it, Blue Man Group. I know, you're not really bald. Nah, you gotta live this lifestyle. Sunscreen,
You just recently did a whole show in Spanish, didn't you?
That was one of my big goals for this year.
Today's show is brought to you by Brave Healer Productions. Experience what's possible. Today's show is packed with laughs. I've got the incredibly talented multimedia comedian Eric Schwartz joining me. His stand-up clips, music videos, and sketches have over 100 million views. He's collaborated with Grammy winner Jason Mraz, the hilarious Tiffany Haddish, and he's even opened for Joe Coy on his world tour. Get ready to laugh out loud. Plus, I'm hitting the streets for Sharing with Shari, where we meet some amazing people. And I'm bringing you the latest from the Joy Newsroom. You don't want to miss a minute of this. Stay tuned. Good morning, Joy Chasers. A high-pressure system of happiness is rolling in, bringing 100% chance of random compliments and spontaneous laughter showers. So grab your umbrella if you must. But trust me, you're gonna wanna get drenched in this rainstorm. Remember, no matter the weather outside, it's always sunny in our hearts here at Joy News. Keep shining. Over to you, Shari. He's appeared on The Tonight Show, on Hulu, on BET. He's appeared just about everywhere. Eric Schwartz has over 100 million views between his stand-up comedy, between his music clips and his parodies. He's opened for Joe Coy's world tour, and he's collaborated and worked for people like Jason Mraz, Tiffany Haddish. I can keep going on, but Eric Schwartz is right here, and oh my God, what are you doing here?
Oh, it's me. I'm like, I want to meet this person. Wow.
Well, I know.
Thank you. You just gave me all the affirmations I need. I don't even have to journal this week.
Well, that's what I'm here. I help build people's self-esteem.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Done. Mission accomplished.
Thank you. Thanks so much for being here. I know I've kind of nagged you a little bit in Messenger and...
No, that's called consistency. And I said, let's make the pain stop. Just go do it. No, it is my pleasure because I see you doing this, and this is such a positive message, and you're so consistent with it, and you put your heart into it, and I can tell. So
thank you.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Well, let's talk about consistency for a minute because, I was doing my research, which first let me say that I think I might have decided that I should only interview comedians because the research for this was so fun.
All right, okay.
My partner was listening to me in the other room, and, I was just busting up laughing. I literally spit water out at one point.
Yes.
And I know, it's your goal. And so just having you here was so exciting for me because, I saw you open for Jason Mraz at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, that was fun, yeah.
That was super
That was an impromptu thing where we just jumped on. We weren't on the actual stage. I got to get there myself. That was top 3 stages I've ever been on.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
It was really cool. And so just being able to look at everything you've done and consistency, you've been working decades at this.
Yeah, I guess thank you for recognizing that. My friends and family say that I work too much, of course, but like when you're doing something you love, you don't work, right? But I don't know what it is, this like desire to just work all the time and get to this place. I work hard.
But what I found so inspiring from someone who's also a fellow creator is number one, of course, your consistency, but also just the fact that you continually just show up and you try new things and your material always gets better and you're so different than everybody else, which, I mentioned.
You know where I got that different thing? Like a kid studying comedy, I looked up Shakespeare for some reason and he said, comedy is incongruence, something like that, I'm paraphrasing. And I go, oh, incongruent, something that doesn't fit. And so I kind of almost applied that to doing comedy. How can I do something nobody else is doing? So yeah.
Well,
Thanks, Bill.
What up?
What up, Bill? From the grave. I see you.
You want to pour some out?
Yeah. Let me pour some out into the flowers so it comes back. Okay, cool.
So let's talk about the homies a little bit, because you actually come from your background.
Yeah, that was like the whitest moment ever. Let's talk about the homies, shall we? Let's talk about your homies.
Well, I did just watch this morning, Lean Like a Gringo from 16 years ago.
Yeah,
and I was spitting up again about that because you're like, love your brows. Like, you literally write the most original, I don't want to keep fangirling here, but.
Well, where that came from, Lean Like a Gringo is a parody of a song called Lean Like a Cholo. It's like a really popular song by this guy, Down, AKA Kilo. So I grew up, my stepfather's Mexican. Okay, since I was 4 years old, I call myself a quarter step Mexican. Okay, and so growing up, I never wanted to be what I would call that gringo, because my stepdad was like, don't be so gringo, or don't be so, he would teach me about the culture. And so that song is a character, the gringo that I don't want to be. But the thing is, it got so popular that a lot of people think that that's actually me. Like, that's how I act. But yeah, I can't kill that song. Like, I still perform it sometimes at shows. People just want to see that. I don't know what it is. It's a good thing. Like, sometimes I'm sick of doing it, but people.
No, I just discovered it.
Leaning Like a Gringo.
Yeah, and I just went into the kitchen today. I was like, oh my God, John, you've got to watch Eric's thing. And I was doing a dance just this morning. Okay, so you're part step Jewish as well.
No, I'm fully
Jewish.
Yeah.
Okay.
I say I'm a quarter step Mexican Jew. Shalom, cabron. Right?
And you step present?
I represent, I don't step present. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just like, as you can see, I'm like just kind of feeding you. I'm like, please do some comedy. No, no. But the reason why I feel like this is so approachable for my audience is because I always encourage people really to just be themselves. And you have like fully taken what I imagine as a kid might have been, I could be wrong, I'm digging a little challenging to, grow up in different cultures and stuff, and you have freaking ran with it and made it amazing.
It was a little confusing, but I guess, but I always liked it. I always, when I was a kid, we went to camp at this place in San Diego, and we went like camping, and there was always these carne asada cookouts. And besides the food, which is delicious, like community and family, I just really liked it. That was like kind of my earliest, times. And then, with the cultura, which I call cultura is culture. Sometimes people ask, what is cultura? I talk about that a lot in my show. They go, what is cultura? What does that mean? And I go, it's one letter off of culture. Like, if you couldn't figure that out, you need some cultura in your life. But yeah, cultura. Yeah, cultura. And when I say it with my whole body, cultura. And then sometimes I say it too hard, and then my huevos go adentro. Cultura. It just like I do a male kegel. And yeah, people don't think guys can do kegels. Sí se puede.
Sí se puede. Sí se puede. You just recently did a whole show in Spanish, didn't you?
That was one of my big goals for this year. I wouldn't be able to do a full headlining set in Spanish, but I was telling my openers, like, do more time. I'm gonna do maybe 40 minutes at the most. And then I got on stage and I did 1 hour and 8 minutes.
Wow, all in Spanish.
All in Spanish. Then I realized I talk a lot slower in Spanish. It is true. I speak a lot slower in Spanish because I'm thinking about like, how do I say this?
That?
But I was really taking chances. I was like, I prepped my set, and then I was going really well, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try some other stuff. I'm gonna try to live translate some stuff right now, and it worked. So.
And you had someone that actually reached out to you, right? Like I said, it was a highlight of a moment that talked about you performing in Spanish.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I wasn't, I didn't realize that like this would have been the greatest compliment. But actually, I did another show in Spanish last night, and somebody said that to me again. You made me feel seen. It was really telling to me, and it's kind of the reason I wanted to celebrate cultura, is because. I don't know, a few years ago, I heard a lot of people start talking poorly about Mexicans. And so I took it upon myself, and I don't want to like preach to people. So I said, hey, what can I do to just show how awesome it is. And that's kind of what inspired me to talk more about it.
Yeah, and you do it all so well, and you make everything you put people at ease with it.
Oh.
That as I sit and watch, and I've had other people watch your work, we just sit with a smile the entire time. And I don't just say that, like, I don't laugh at all comedians. But there's something about you when you're so likable. You called yourself a human thumb with glasses, which was the best. And the reason why I bring that up is because, a lot of people do self-deprecating type stuff, but yours is so like loving towards it's like you embrace.
Well, I don't think it's fair. Okay, bald people, bald guys, we get made fun of. We're the only group you can still make fun of, and everybody just accepts it. Everybody's cool with it, and they join in. I don't know what is it about being bald that's accepted. You can body shame us. It is not even technically. It is body shaming. But people just like, oh, you bald idiot. They do wax on, wax off on your head. They want to touch you. They're like, it's like probably like a porpoise on there. And then, but no, it's like, stop trying to make us feel bad. Like we don't have. Like, what did we do? We didn't do anything. We had genetics. This was the God's plan for us. And so what I say is, we don't have a lack of hair, all right? What we have is a surplus of face. Like, our faces said, I'm too handsome to stop at a hairline.
Oh my God.
I'm going all the way to the toes, baby.
You went all in on it, like all. And it's so obvious. Like, I'm sitting here feeling like my heart's palpitating a little bit. I'm like, he's all face. I love it.
That's what you got to get a guy who's all face, Blue Man Group. Yeah, I said it, Blue Man Group. I know you're not really bald. You're wearing bald caps. You can't appropriate the bald culture like that. You can't just, after a hard day's work, go home and just, oh, that was terrible. Nah, you got to live this lifestyle. Sunscreen, bitch.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you. No,
I always say all that. I hope I'm still likable.
Yeah.
Well, that's some strong language.
Well, I always have some inspirational moments, so you just did it. It was really a PSA for people, so thank you for doing that part for me. Okay. So, I can't sit here and not talk about your rapping, and your singing, you're actually really good, and your writing. When you rap, I'm so curious, when you write this, do you hear a beat in your head? Because you're not just a comedian. That's what I'm saying. It all just, you can beatbox, you do it all.
Well, where hip hop came from for me was I grew up in Southern California, near LA, in a city called Thousand Oaks, which is not known for culture. It's very homogenous.
I used to work there.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's getting better. Mm-hmm. But I would be able to pick up a radio station, a very legendary radio station called K-Day, and when it was on AM radio. And when it was a rainy day or when it was dark, it would come in better. That's how radio waves work. And so I started listening to this new music called rap music or hip hop, and breakdancing was starting to become popular, and I started breakdancing, and it became like a craze amongst kids and stuff like that. And so I just loved that music. I loved that culture. And then when I got a little bit older, my dad had a clothing business where he sold clothing out of a truck, ladies' clothing out of a truck, and then on the weekends he would go to the swap meet and sell stuff. So we would go to this swap meet called the Rhodium, which is in Gardena in LA. And if you know anything about the Rhodium, the most famous thing about it is that there's this record stand called Rhodium Records. Steve Yano, this guy, used to run it. And that is where Dr. Dre used to do his first mixtapes. And that's kind of where NWA was born, out of that swap meet. Our clothing stand was 2 rows away, maybe about 50 feet away from Rhodium Records. And all the money that my dad would give me, I would go spend it at Rhodium Records. I became a DJ. I spent all my bar mitzvah money on DJ equipment. And I started doing parties, Sweet 16 parties, whatever it was. And this is before the internet. I was bringing a lot of hip hop records to Thousand Oaks and kind of spreading the message and the music. And so that's kind of I just have always been deep into hip hop. Doing parody songs, I used to work in radio, and that's where I started doing parodies. Doing parody songs forced me to learn how people came up with how they did it. Like as far as like if I was recreating their music or trying to sound like them, like I had to imitate them, and like I had to listen really deep for every sound that was in the track and for like every inflection or how they were carrying their voice. So that's always been a like big study on like how it was formulated. You have to basically like you're tasting the recipe and you're like, what's in this?
It's so obvious though, the amount of preparation and work that you put in. I recently watched your special.
Oh, Delivery?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, I just say it was like a whole Vegas show. Like you should have a residency. I don't know if that's something that
would be fun to
because
do.
it's the full spectrum. It's for people who love stand up, but then there's the music. There's the whole. I mean,
it's a multimedia. Yeah. That was my concept was multimedia, multicultural, and what was the other M word?
Multi-awesome.
I think when they look at me, I want them to say,
It's a good thing you're the comedian, not me.
Yeah.
You know, I tried stand-up last year for the first time. I took a class to face my fears.
Okay.
And you at the Federal, you opened. Anyway, and I was one of the, students or whatever that went up there. And like, it was my third time doing it.
Yeah.
And after you opened, I literally said, "Okay, this is your last time doing the Shari."
No. So I only did that once. So that was maybe 2 years ago?
No, not even. It was within the last year because I just took a class last year.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I took one, and you came in and you did open it.
You should have seen me my first time.
Yeah, but it was okay. Like, it was just facing a fear. I realized, I might have good comedic timing, but joke writing is not my thing. Even Vargas was like, "You're a little intellectual for people." I'm like, "So I'm not funny."
Well, no, look, I've seen people just eat it for years. And then 4 years later, I'll see them again. I'll be like, "Oh my God, they got it. Mm-hmm. They're really funny."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So then let's talk about that for a quick moment, because I want our viewers to, because I know there's somebody out there who is, wanting to go after their dreams, but maybe they don't think that they can do it. And do you have any advice for somebody, maybe even that's in comedy?
Yeah, I think like back to like that consistency thing. Like any creative practice is like, I liken it to athleticism, because I grew up like as a swimmer and stuff like that. And so that's kind of like my vocabulary is it's an exercise. It's working out. I've done this book several times called The Artist's Way, and it's
Great
a spiritual guide to creative freedom. You've obviously done it.
Do you have any advice, for someone who's, going after a dream or thinks their dream's too big or just don't know how to start and, maybe they need some encouragement?
Yeah, I mean, whatever your dream is, I mean, of course you want to plan things out, but like it's never going to go like you thought it was going to go, and you got to be adaptable, right? These are all the things that you've heard, but one of the things that has helped me the most creatively is a book called The Artist's Way. It's a spiritual guide to creative freedom, and don't just read this book, you do the book. And that taught me like exercise that goes into creativity. Like, when you're working out, you get stronger the more you do it. Mm-hmm. Same with creativity. It is an exercise. And I don't believe that somebody is like a bad artist. Like when you were talking about like, I'm not good at comedy or whatever. I've seen people that weren't necessarily good. So I never call them not good. I just feel like they don't have experience yet. They don't have,
that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the more experience you have, the stronger you can become.
Love it. I mean, it fits right in the line with joy.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, no. All right, don't go anywhere, because I have a fun game for us when we return, and you stay right there.
After seeing how many floral arrangements were going to waste after a wedding, Rebecca Shelley and Laura Ruth decided to do something about it. With the goal of spreading positivity in mind, Rebecca and Laura say it's a simple thing to pick out what's wilted, add some of our own flowers if needed, and share the joy one more time. And with that, Friendly City Florals was born. Accepting donations from events, parties, and businesses, they clean and then deliver flowers to hospice centers, weddings, or to anyone that just needs a little joy. With support from their community, this local business is able to provide green space for those in nursing homes, telling reporters, "We just hear so much feedback about how much joy it brings them and how much they love it." It's definitely clear that Friendly City Florals is bringing smiles to their community, one floral arrangement at a time.
Now it's time for one of my favorite segments where I get to connect with you, my viewers. A viewer wrote in and asked, Dear Shari, what are some ways I can spread joy to others around me who seem like they need it? Let me be honest, sometimes when someone's feeling down, they might not be up for a full-on cheer session, and that's okay. But there are still plenty of ways to show them that you've got their back. A simple text to say, I'm thinking of you, can work wonders. Or maybe surprise them with a cup of coffee. Everyone loves a little caffeine pick-me-up. Sometimes just being there, sitting in comfortable silence, can mean the world. It's not always about grand gestures. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness make the biggest impact. So go ahead, spread that joy. Your presence alone can make all the difference. We are back, and I am sitting here with Eric Schwartz, stand-up comedian, multimedia, multicultural guy. And it's all
my
the
branding's
M's.
working. My branding's working.
Right, like
sure.
that. Yeah. And I decided, like I said, I did my research, which I had so much fun. And you used to host on the street interview show called On the Spot.
Yep.
And so I thought that I would put you on the spot.
Now you're on the spot. That's how I used to say it. Now you're on the spot.
Now you're on the spot.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, I don't really have something for you to win, except, maybe just saying you did it.
Joy.
Silly
That's what
me.
it's all about.
That's what it's all about. But I would say that if you can get 10 out of these 17 in the time on the clock, I'm putting a lot of effort into you.
Okay.
You get to go home a champion.
And how much time do we have?
Whatever it works out to be.
Okay, let's go.
Yep,
for
all
it.
right. There's a timer going.
Okay, yeah.
All right. So, what comedian was best known for his rant on the 7 words you can't say on
George
TV?
Carlin.
What comedian grossed $50 million with his stand-up concert film? Purple?
Eddie Murphy.
Yes.
Okay.
What female comedian's biography is titled The Bedwetter? You could always pass if you don't know.
Chelsea?
Sarah Silverman.
Okay.
What successful stand-up comedian got one of his first big screen roles playing Pookie in New Jack City?
Chris Rock.
Yep.
Yeah.
This angry chain-smoking comedian became well known for his act No Cure for Cancer.
Dice.
No, I thought it was too.
Oh, Dennis Leary.
Yes.
Let me tell you a quick story about, do I have a quick story time?
We'll
Dice,
try.
sitting next to him at an outdoor restaurant, asks me and the person I was with, do you mind if I smoke?
Ah!
And I go, I was hoping you would. I was gonna ask you to smoke.
I love that. My dad took me to see Andrew Dice Clay when I was a young girl. Thanks, Dad. Okay, where are we at? What politically opinionated I never say this right.
Satirist.
Satirist, thank you. And comedian has a weekly cable TV show on HBO.
Oh, the English guy,
Or the American guy.
John Oliver.
Bill.
Bill Maher.
Ay. This shrieking and often insulting comedian was a preacher before he was a comedian.
Sam Kinison.
What comedian got her start in stand-up at a Coors Light Super Talent Showcase in Washington?
I have no idea.
Wanda Sykes.
Oh.
This funny man was star of Big Mama's House and former host of Def Comedy Jam.
Oh, Martin Lawrence.
Yes. What legendary stand-up comedian was known as the Queen of Comedy?
The Queen of Comedy would be, I'm gonna say Joan Rivers.
You're correct.
Yeah.
This is you have a 50-50 shot here. True or false? GQ called Louis C.K. the undisputed king of comedy.
Sure, why not?
Yep, 2014.
Yeah.
True or false? Robin Williams attended the prestigious Juilliard School.
Yes.
Yes. What comedian is most remembered for his raunchy comedy records and nightclub acts during the 1950s and 80s?
It's not Lenny Bruce. It's Red Fox?
Yes.
Okay.
We're gonna have to end soon because my eyes, I can't even see anymore. I'm like, this is how I know my age. Okay, last one. Because I think you already won. Which comedian deliberately botched the Star Spangled Banner
Roseanne.
Roseanne.
Okay.
Eric Schwartz,
Thank
you
you, that
are
was fun.
amazing. I've had so much fun with you today.
Me too.
One
With
last
you.
question. With me.
Yes.
You hear that, people? With me. One last question for you.
Yes.
What secretly brings you joy?
I can't say that.
Well, you're sharing with my audience,
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah, it's gonna no longer be a secret. So.
Okay, you get some coconut oil. And you make a coffee with it, MCT oil. Have you ever heard of it? You have a dirty mind. Oh, it's not really that secret, but my kitties.
Oh.
Yeah, like this morning I pet my cat and so much fur came out of him. And I said, must be nice, huh? You just got it falling out of you.
Oh my God. Thank you, Eric Schwartz, for being here today. Stay right here because we are going to go talk to some peeps on the street on today's
First time, Shari. Thank you for keeping your word. Seeing me there. I appreciate that. So we're on Good Morning Joy, and I just wanted to say that my fiance, for 15 years, I've been trying to get him into personal development, and he would not listen to one speaker. I sent him you because you talked about the New York Jets, and he was like, I'm all in. So I want to thank you for that.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I also want to say thank you for seeing everybody today.
Happy to do it.
I watch as you take a breath for each person and see that. Because this is a show about joy, is there something that you could share with me that nobody else knows that secretly brings you joy each day?
It's an interesting version of joy. I would call it, the thing that motivates me is the people that I see doing things that are super duper hard that most people don't pay attention to. I've said this publicly, and there's obviously a lot of people here who really have heard a lot of my stuff, so this might not be new, but I don't say this often, which is why I'm bringing it up right now. I'm incredibly I travel a lot, and I take a lot of 6 a.m. flights, which means I'm leaving my apartment a lot of times at 4:30 in the morning. And I live in New York City. I'm wildly affected by people that I see going to work at 5 o'clock in the morning that look like they're somewhere between the ages of 50 to 70. I don't know why, but I look at them like, it's like dark sometimes if it's winter, light in the summer. And I look out the window on the way to the airport and I see them coming out of the subway or getting off the bus. And I just look at like a 49, 62-year-old woman and I just see she's going to work. And then my brain goes, right? I go, she lost her husband. She has 3 guys. I do that thing as every human does. I'm incredible. The thing that brings me joy is that there are people around the world, in a world right now that is filled with complainers. There's people around the world who have it so hard, who don't complain to anyone. They put their head down and they do it for their family. And it brings me such motivation, but it actually gives me joy because I know the kids that are the beneficiary of that man or woman that is that person will go on. Just like I am a human that benefited from parents that put their head down in extremely difficult situations. And then I had the ability to use that to create strength that allowed me to be able to communicate to the world. You can't give love unless you love yourself.
I turned 50 last week.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And my dad just got diagnosed with ALS.
Sorry.
But I share that because without the joy, and the joy for me, just so you know, is being the full expression of ourselves.
100%.
Stepping into our...
And gratitude is everything. Like my dad lost his dad at 15. It sucks that your dad at 78 just got diagnosed with ALS. Meanwhile, there's 100 million people on earth right now that lost their dad before they were 5 or never even knew him. So like when you decide to focus on what's good instead of dwelling on what's bad, it changes everything. So like when you said that to me, in my head, you said you were 50 and you said that, I swear to God, I literally said in my head, you got lucky.
Thanks so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time on Good Morning Joy, where every day starts with a smile.